How's it? The Tom London Show is brought to you by Suzuki Rivonia, the home of happy customers.
The Tom London Show.
Afternoon, Mensa. I feel better than I did last week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else got the flu? I had it. I had it for a week. 7 days of it. Lay in bed doing nothing for 4 days. And you know me, when it starts going to my chest, I start panicking. I'm like, oh no, here we go. But I went to the doctor, I got the right medicines, and I'm okay. So here I am with you this afternoon. And I thought it's been such a long time since we've just had a chat that I've just responded to comments in the comment section and picked up on what you're talking about. And just having a fat chat with each other. I've been putting podcasts together the last couple of days and lots of conversations with people and guests, and I just want to be with my friends. So I consider you a friend, and I hope that as you join this program, you'll find friends in the comment section. If you're watching on YouTube Live, then the comments will come through to me. Same with Facebook. I'm just looking at... We're testing our new fiber line today to see how it does. And I saw a little bit of jittery there, but I pressed a button and that should fix it. And then we should be okay. So I'm waiting for your comment in the comment section. If you're watching on Facebook, the Dysfunctionals, Tom's Army, hang out in the comment section of the show. A lot of people who do a lot of good and good people. So say hello if it's your first time and make friends with people in the comment section and join the party. We'll see who's got what to say in just a moment in the comment section. But yeah, so I'm feeling better. I mean, that's not national news or anything, but I skipped a couple of shows because I wasn't feeling well. I went to the chemist the other day and I bought... My chest was like on the edge and I thought, let me go get some of that old-fashioned cough mixture, Borstel. Do you know Borstel? Borstel. I think is it B-O-R-S-T-O-L or B-O-S-T-O-L? I think it's Borstel. I bought some Borstel. And they had the orange flavor, and I think they had a peppermint flavor, and then there was one that said original. I thought, I'm going to go for the original this time. That should be the good one, eh? So I bought a big bottle of Borstel, original flavor. Have you had that stuff? I took a swig. It was like I was drinking mampur. And for about 6 hours afterwards, every time I breathed out, all I could smell was alcohol coming out of me. I think that cough mixture is like 96, I don't know what it is, I'm just making this up, but it's like 96% alcohol and then, I don't know, some cinnamon or something thrown in. I don't know what they put in it. But my goodness, I have never had a cough mixture that as I drank it, I went, geez, this stuff is like petrol. Before, that was, I don't know if you've ever tried it, Borstel Original. What happens is you're so scared to have another swig of it that you come right automatically without even continuing with it. You just come right. Your body goes, I don't want that again. My chest is fine now. So that's what happened. Anyway, that's all the news in my world. What else has been going on? Lots of rain in Johannesburg. Every time it thunders, I run outside and pull the washing off the line, and then it doesn't rain. And then when it looks like clear skies, I put the washing out, and then next thing I know, I go out, come back, and everything's soaked. I call it an extra rinse cycle, so I don't get too perturbed by that. But the rain, there's been a lot of it lately. The weather's been up and down. People are up and down. The world's gone crazy. It's too early in the year to be this stressed. Too early. We should find some happiness in something. I'll tell you what I found, and it's horrible for me to say I found happiness in it. But Mel and Piet and Mel, have you been watching that story? I want to talk about that today. And anything that's on your mind. So if you've got something on your mind that you want to talk about, let's bash ideas and topics and conversation around for a few minutes today. Let's go to the comment section and see who's on board. Margaret Guider says, hi, all you lovely people. The other half of the Guide Counters is on board. Una Guide says, hello, everybody. Hope you're feeling better, Tom. Margaret Guide says, here you are, Tom. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Kathy Loader is on board. Hello, Kathy. Thanks for joining us. Kathy says, hi, good to see you. Heather Knickerbein says, hello, Tom. Glad you're doing much better. Studio's looking great. Yeah, we did our very first Freedom Foundation podcasts yesterday with Leon Lowe, and it's turned out beautifully. I can't wait to put it on the channel and for you to watch. The program we're putting together is for people who think. It's like for thinkers. It's not fluff. It's serious stuff. But it's fascinating conversation, and I've been looking at the first two programs that we recorded this morning, and I was hooked. I was hooked on my own products, and I was like, oh, okay, this might be good. So look out for that on my page and the Freedom Foundation pages in the next couple of days. You'll start seeing that content coming out, and I'm just so excited to bring it to you. And of course, it comes out of the new studios here at Africa Mobile. And while we're talking about the people that help us on the show, my caffeine in the bloodstream is brought to you by Visinov. Kubis!
Thank you very much.
For the coffee. And then I also, I don't know if you can see, look at this nice shirt I've got. One of our viewers dropped off a whole pile of shirts here 2 weeks ago. One of the people who watched the show said, no, you need new shirts. I'm dropping some off. I said, no, I'm fine. Came here the other day, there was a pile of new shirts. I don't know if the person wants me to put their name out there, but my clothes are now sponsored by the viewers. This is crazy. Dustin Miller in Fort Myers, Florida says, good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day today? And happy birthday to my mom, Denise Miller. Hope you're well, my friend. I am, Dustin. I hope you're too. Happy birthday, Denise. Kathy Loader says, glad you're feeling better. Please, you're feeling better. Thank you very much. Emily Hudson says, hello, dysfunctional family. So excited today with Tom's Army. Margaret Guida says, Borstal can make you just a little drunk. Yeah, I didn't get drunk, but the only word I could use to describe it was fumes. Like I could smell fumes every time I breathed. You know, when you go to a petrol station, you can smell the fumes. That's what I smelled like. I walked around for hours going, gee, that smell. And I realized it was coming out of me. It was the Borstal. It was like, oh, you've arrived at work. How's it, Daryl? Heather Knickerbein says, Borstal, we used to call it old car oil. We were dosed every winter by my mom. People know about this, eh? Gwen Sanders says, hello from Perth. Good afternoon to you from South Africa. And good evening in Perth, Gwen. Thanks for joining us. My brother Greg joins us from Abu Dhabi. Oh boy, what do I say? A little while ago, my brother and part of my family moved to the UAE and moved to Abu Dhabi. And I was so happy. They're in a safe part of the world, a society that works, an economy that thumps. And now I call him once a day to find out if he's okay. I don't know if you've got family in the UAE that you worry about, but every day I worry about my brother and my sister-in-law and my niece and my nephews. I just worry. And it's weird living in South Africa with our high crime rates to worry about something happening on the other side of the world. But I do. I worry. And then every day I call. I say, are you okay? Yeah, don't worry. We're fine. It seems that people in the UAE, they just khaning on. They're doing the South African thing, fasbait and khan on. And that's what they're doing. So how's it to my brother in Abu Dhabi? The fact that he's on the show means that he's alive today, which is fantastic. The other day I said to him, do you want to come home? He said, no, what for? I think we're more panicked about the problems in the Middle East than some of the people living in the Middle East. Marlene Falkenberg says, hi, everyone. Thought I would join to cheer me up after losing oh, no. 2 dogs? How do you lose 2 dogs? I'm assuming that they are no more, that you didn't lose them and they ran away and you can't find them. Losing as in they're gone forever, which is just such a sad thought. I haven't had a dog since 2017, 2018. It's about 8 years now. I always have had dogs. And then I had a Dalmatian called Amy. She was the sweetest soul, and she lived to 14 years old. And then in the end, she got really sick, and I nursed her while she just declined. And then that day comes where you have to go to the vet, and then you pretend that everything's okay. You're going over the Rainbow Bridge, but inside your heart is breaking. And I think for that reason, I haven't had a dog since. I am so conscious of how terrible it feels when they're gone that I haven't had the confidence to go get another dog. But I would like another dog. The birds are cool, but they can't curl up on the bed. The parrots just bite holes in the duvet, whereas a dog will do a little circle and then it just plops itself down, and you're cool. The dog is there, you're there, and you're all in perfect harmony. I need a dog. I don't know what kind of dog to get. Put suggestions in the comment section. I'll comment on your suggestions. I'm so sorry, Marlene. My thoughts are with you. I know exactly what it feels like, and I hope you're doing okay. Mallory Jordan says, hi, Tom Zombie. Missed you. When did you drink petrol? It wasn't petrol, it was Borstal, but I think they put 95 in it. Hello, Dysfunctional, says Anita Mainhardt. Loving the studio. I am too. I'm so proud of it. It's looking really, really nice. We've got 2 red chairs in here now. We've got a green screen wall. Maybe I should give you a tour of it on one of the shows. Barbara Anglau says, hi, Tom and all. Margaret Guider says, so sorry about that. That is terrible. I'm sorry to hear that about your dog. Hi to all. Hope you're well again. Tom says, Dawn, I'm very well, thank you. I did give myself a headache yesterday. And I woke up this morning asking myself a question, because I'm not anxious all the time. But yesterday I was anxious. I was under pressure. I had 2 podcasts to record. I wanted them to go perfectly. And I gave myself such a neck ache and a headache that it lasted the whole night. And it wasn't because of something I ate, and it wasn't because of something wrong with me. It was just anxiety. Just anxiety for a couple of hours. Bang, my body caved in. This morning I woke up and I'm like, how do you control anxiety? I mean, I'm 53 and I'm asking myself that question. How do you control anxiety? Do you just say, it's all going to be okay? Or do you do a breathing exercise? I don't know anymore. Maybe it's Borstal.
The Tom London Show.
No, man. Auntie Bev says, hi, Tom and Tom Zombie. Glad you're looking better. I need to do something. So I'm in the process. So first thing was to fix the studio and make sure I've got a place to work out of. And then the second thing is to fix myself. Now, there's not a lot that needs fixing on me. I need to lose about another 10 kilos. Good luck with that, Tom. And I need to do my hair because it's just grown out in different. It's funny. Some parts of my the hair grows out fast and the other is slow, and it just doesn't do what I want it to do. So I need to do my hair. And I got to fix my teeth because I got broken teeth at the bottom, and I've spent decades trying to maintain rubbish teeth. Does anyone know? I wish that we had a dentist that watched this show. That's who I wish I could find. It'd be great if I had a girlfriend who was a dentist. Just like, sit in the chair and get treated. But I'm looking, and the problem I've got is I need some teeth taken out, and then I need a couple of implants. And the dentists nowadays, I used to go to a dentist in Benoni on the East Rand. That guy wasn't scared of anything. You needed a tooth pulled out or something. He didn't say, oh, we better book you into the clinic and have mild sedation, or you need to go under general anesthetic. He just hoy that injection and pull that tooth in the chair, $150. Boom. Thank you very much, you know?
Thank you very much.
So he was I call them fearless dentists. To me, they're doctors and dentists who are fearless. Doctors, something wrong with you, they throw the kitchen sink at it. I like doctors like that. And dentists who not worried about having to book you into a clinic. I don't want to go under anesthetic to have some teeth pulled out or an implant put in. I just want to sit in the chair. I'm a big boy. I've had stuff happen. I mean, at Helen Joseph and Morningside Clinic, they stuck needles through my ribs into my lung cavity without anesthetic. I don't mind. It's okay. Go ahead and do whatever you need to do. Screw the things in, drill, take a hammer and chisel. I'll just lie there with my mouth open. I won't even complain. But dentists nowadays, they ninnies, man. They babies. They're like, oh, no, we couldn't possibly pull that out. What if we rupture your sinuses? Do you think I'm worried about ruptured sinuses? I mean, what's a ruptured sinus? I've never even heard of someone with a ruptured sinus. I've never come across anybody with a ruptured sinus, but they say, oh, no, be careful. They do take you into general anesthetic. I mean, we don't want to rupture your sinuses. I'm like, no, don't worry. Rupture the sinuses, pull the teeth out that need to come out and screw the new ones in. I just can't find a dentist that has got cojones to do that. And also a dentist that, you don't have to pay the price of a house to get dental work done. So I don't know. Maybe you've got a brother or a father or a distant relative or an ex-boyfriend or something who's a good dentist at a good price that isn't afraid to do the stuff in the chair. That's what I'm looking for. Maybe you've got a dentist like that. Help me out. Help a brother out, because I can't carry on like this. I got to, especially my bottom, they've all cracked. I got to sort that out. Half the South African men are now quite tipsy in the pubs in the name of St. Patrick's Day. I had no idea it was St. Patrick's Day. You see, you've got to be a boozer. You've either got to be Irish or a boozer. By a boozer, I mean someone that dops every day. You got to, if you're a boozer, then it's marked out on your calendar, St. Patrick's Day. I'm not going to work that day. I'm going to be dopping at the pub. So, yeah. Not my thing. Hi, Tom's Army, says Mallory Jordan. I missed you. Borstal, good old-fashioned remedy works well. Geez, did it clear my chest up. 2 sips. That was it. First sip, got the shock of my life, breathed petrol fumes for 6 hours, and then next morning took another small sip and thought, I'm not taking that stuff again, and I came right. So I don't know. I can only recommend it. Hi, Greg. We're worried about you down there. Down here, we're worried about you guys. Please cheer us up. Uniguida says, I have friends in the UAE. They're still very chilled under the circumstances. Yes, South Africans are having braais on the rooftops. That's what South Africans are doing. They're going to the mall and they're having braais, and nothing much has changed. And every now and then they say they hear a big boom. For me, I'm panicking for them. And his Maynard says, hope all is good with everybody. Rosie Brown's on board. Get a little Yorkie. I've always wanted a little teacup Yorkie. Always wanted a little teacup Yorkie. I had a friend, and I worked for him, the ex-CEO of Vodacom. He had 2 little teacup Yorkies, and we were having lunch in the Winelands one day in Stellenbosch, and he came out, he took a pram out of his car. And I thought, why has Alan got babies? I mean, he's in his 60s. I mean, it wasn't babies, it was the pram for the 2 dogs. And we sat at this long table at this beautiful wine farm. And next to him, I was sitting next to him, and behind us was the pram with the 2 Yorkies in. And he was very protective of them, because if people put their hands near the dogs, they'd snap and bite people's fingers. So he was always trying to warn people, don't touch the dogs, they'll bite you. And this lady was trying to touch the dogs, and he used to speak very softly. He said, don't touch the dogs, they'll bite you. And she said, sorry. And he said, don't touch the dogs, they'll bite you. And she was like, what? And she put her hand there, and they bit her. So they've got attitudes, little Yorkies. How are they around birds? Will they chase the parrots around the room and not stop until they've eaten one? Or are they okay? 53, bloody hell, you're old. Excuse me, that's Doreen Is she here? This is somebody I work with. She's getting me back for calling her Rochelle. I called Doreen Rochelle for 3 weeks until I realized I was making a mistake in calling her a name that she'd never been called by before. Or is that another Doreen? I don't know which Doreen this is. All I know is that if your name is Doreen, you're probably a troublemaker. Doreen's one of those troublemaker names, I think. What are the other troublemaker names? Karen? I have pills for that. Margaret Gardner, you can be very proud of your studio. Dustin says your studio looks way better than the Rosemax studio. That was a cool place until, yeah, true. The best dog, Tom, is a Boston Terrier. Oh, I've seen them. They always look like they're like wide-eyed. Eh? They're looking at the world like, oh. Boston Terriers. Why are they the big? You can't just write that. You've got to tell me why. Hi, the Dysfunctional says, Alistair, I had a family out to me this week and they've asked for help. Please go to Back a Buddy and give them a time. All right, well, you go take a look at that. Margaret Guider says, your anxiety is normal, Tom. You've had a lot to deal with. And yeah, but I don't want to get headaches from being anxious. Because the thing with an anxiety headache is no amount of tablets takes it away. You've got to remove the anxiety. Bring back the old-fashioned dentist. We used to have one in Springs called Dr. Hoogevend, which I think if you translate into English is Dr. High Wind.
Thank you very much.
And he used to be a smoker, and they didn't wear gloves in those days. And my earliest memories of going to the dentist at Dr. Hoogevend's office are that you could taste the nicotine when he worked on you. And I blame him for, starting smoking all those years ago. Dentists are in it for the money. That's why they suggest other options all the time. I just think they're very depressed people, most of them. They're just staring into rotten mouths all day. Sis, man. I have a friend whose dad is a dentist who will ask some questions. Please. Tom, just buy a set of dentures on Facebook Marketplace so I could sell you the set. We know that those don't work. Those videos, they look beautiful. Oh, you just clip in new teeth. Fantastic. $4.99, Temu. And they come along and they look like those teeth that you get in the sweet packets. They're pretty much just the same thing. Get a Doberman. I do like Dobermans. I do like them. But they're big. A miniature Doberman, I think I'd go for, because the Dobermans are big. The my problem with big dogs, big poo, and I'd have to pick up the poo. So I learned this lesson: little dogs, small poo. You just take a little bit of toilet paper and you pick it up, or whatever, off the lawn or wherever they land up pooing. Because dogs, they don't have discretion when it comes to making poos. I've always said that. People always tell me, oh, dogs give you unconditional love. I'm like, nah, I'm not so sure about that. I think that dogs allow us to give them unconditional love. And I've said this before. You know that you love your dog unconditionally when it makes a poo and vomits on the floor and you go, oh no, Tinkerbell, why did you do that? And you go, clean it up. Now, if your boyfriend did something like that, if he came home and vomited and made a poo on the floor, I think the first time you'd probably be like, no, you can't do that again. And the second time, that would be the end of the relationship. So we are far more forgiving when it comes to our dogs. Thank you very much. That's a good look, Tom. A 6'6" man with a big dog. I'm 6'4", with a big dog enough to trip him. No. So the one thing that I worry about with Dobermans is I had a girlfriend, my first girlfriend, many years ago. She was petrified of Dobermans because she had I can't remember I think she might have had a little scar on her bum. But from when she was young, a Doberman nipped her with the front teeth. It nipped her bum with the front teeth, and she was petrified. So when I think of Dobermans, I think of dogs that when you turn around, they nip your bum like that. Get a border collie, take you for a run. No, too high intensity border collies. I spent some time years ago involved in the dog agility world. I used to live in Kensington and I did agility training down the road in Malvern, and I would do the commentating. I used to love it. I just go there and not even charge. Go there on a big agility day and go, well, next up is Spot, the Papillon. And then watch the little dog. And here we go over the seesaw now. And the border collies are always like, and that's when they relaxed. That's a border collie. I need a dog that knows how to chill. Sometimes I've thought of Italian greyhound. They seem to, they can run when you go outside, but when they're inside, they curl up and they just lie on the couch. I like that. I've had to put 2 of my pets down, says Heather, when I gave up home after my hubby passed on. The last 2 were my Siamese cats. It broke me completely. I could not give the dogs to anyone as they were pit bulls. I didn't trust them with anyone. That's a very hard decision to make. Charmaine Ninaba says, hi, Dysfunctionals. Glad you're feeling better. Missed you, Tom. What are you anxious about? Oh, I get anxious about, nowadays not everything. I've managed to control most of it. But yesterday I was recording 2 brand new podcasts. And everything had to be right. The camera angles had to be right. The lighting had to be right. The audio had to be right. In amongst all of that, I had to ask the right questions and keep the comment. And I had 2 of them coming up, and I was just getting so anxious about getting it right. It was a form of performance anxiety. Dustin says, I had a wonderful dentist in Honeydew at NHC, quite a beautiful woman also. I'd had a very pretty dentist once. I went to her once. She was very pretty. And when she was drilling in my mouth, I was staring at her in the eyes and I distracted her and she drilled into my gum. And so I'm not a big believer in pretty dentists because of that. I have a min pin as well. Stick with the Doberman. The min pin will pull in the house and bite all your guests. 2 Jack Russell, says Brendan. See, another one. I had a Jack Russell many, many years ago, and the thing ran away, or I think someone might have stolen it, actually. But they just chew everything. There wasn't a couch in the house that the leg hadn't been chewed by the Jack Russell. That's my problem with Jack Russells. Labbies are the best, as are retrievers. Whenever someone tells me about how placid Labradors are, I think of our Labrador. My brother will remember this. Gigi. We had a golden Labrador called Gigi. And we had Gigi for years, and we had another dog, a Bruck, called Penny. And they got along famously all their lives. And then one day, the Labrador must have got the murrin with the Bruck, and it picked it up, and it practically bit this dog in half. And we had to take the dog to Dr. Sheed, the vet in Springs, and he sewed the dog back together. But the one side, he had to cut a lot of muscle out the side, and he had to rejoin the muscles, and the dog walks at an angle. Its backside was almost curved around to its face. And that Labrador would not put the Bruck down, hey? 2-3 minutes of shaking the dog in its mouth, and I was standing there going, well, there goes the theory on Labradors and their placid nature, you know? Watch Crufts Dog Show for agility trials, 30 seconds from start to finish, and then they fall over. Yeah, I love watching Crufts. Shaman Nina, but Tom, get a small dog. They give you such joy and pleasure. I've got a Jack Russell and a Papillon. What are the Papillons like? Because I do like them. I know they're very smart and they can be taught a lot of things and they're very clever. What are they like to have as a companion? Let me know in the comments section. Was she good looking, your guest? It was Leon Lowe, so it wasn't a she. Stop being so hard on yourself, Tom. Life is short. Enjoy life each day. Spend my life living with Bouvier. What? Bouviers. What dog do you have? Oh, I've got a Bouvier. Thank you very much. Wits used to have a dental clinic. No, they don't do that kind of work that I need. Get a chameleon. No. No. I'm over that. I'm over the reptile stage of life. You know what's made me happy? And I was thinking about whether I should even talk about this today or not. But what's made me happy is that vile, that's the only word I can use, that vile couple, Piet and Mel. I don't know, what is he calls himself? Piet, is it Piet and Mel? Is that what they call themselves? She was on Desperate Housewives or something Housewives of Pretoria. Real Housewives of Pretoria. Apparently she was on that program. Tammy Taylor Nails. And I think, was it Carte Blanche or Debbie that went after them? There were these allegations they were scamming people. And the next thing you know, they're in Florida. They're in Boca Raton, beautiful part of Florida. And they're living in Florida, and they're dressed in beautiful clothes. And when you see them, they're always at the yacht club. And they talk a lot of stuff about South Africa and just the only word I can use to describe them, in my opinion, they're vile. They are vile. I'd rather drink 2 bottles of Borstel than have a conversation with either one of them. They are just vile human beings. They're not the kind of people that you would want to have at your Christmas table, you know. They're nasty. They're horrible people. And for months I've been watching them making these videos out of America where they're like, oh, life is so much better here in South Africa. So wow. They just got all sorts of, the words I want to use I can't use, but they talk a lot of, and a lot of it. And then the other day, I was feeling so bad. I had flu, and I was like, nothing could make me feel better. And then I put on X, and there was the cops. The cops were in Boca Raton. They catch old Piet outside the flat. And they say, what's your name? Petrus. And so he doesn't call himself Petrus. So they say, yeah, I'm Petrus. And they said, well, you're under arrest for shoplifting. I think that's what made me better. I honestly think Piet and Mel's arrest made me better. I really do. Like, Schadenfreude was good for me. I was so happy to see them get arrested. And then they went to the flat and they arrested Melania as well. They went and arrested her. She got her hands behind her back covered with a jumper or something so people can't. But everyone knows. I mean, if you walk out with your arms behind your back to a car and you get in the back seat and the people around you are cops, then it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to work out that you've been arrested. And I was like, what are they being arrested for? So it turns out, right, these two vile human beings, these scoundrels, and bear in mind that they claimed that they weren't scoundrels, that all these things that had been said about them scamming and stealing and stuff were all lies, and they defended it in court, and people were talking nonsense. And if you listen to him long enough, you might even think, oh, well, maybe he's telling the truth. Nah, not that guy. They were scaling champagne. So in America, you got the self-service tills, and they trust you. They trust you. So you buy a coffee cup, and then you scan it yourself. Beep. And then you put it in the basket. And at the end, I suppose you tap your card or something. And you pay, and you leave the shop, and you just do it all yourself. But they don't trust you that much, because they must be able to tell if you are doing something nefarious. And old Pietrus and Melanie, they were doing nefarious stuff, man. They were taking like a packet of pepper for $1, and then they put it in front of the champagne bottle when they put it past the scanner, and it goes beep, $1, but they've stolen a $100 bottle of champagne. They've been doing that for months and months and months. Eventually the shop caught up with them, called the cops, and they got arrested. I think that's probably the best thing that could have happened to humanity in a long time, was arresting those two vile scoundrels. I suppose I shouldn't say I was happy to see people go down or get arrested, but man, I'll make an exception for those two. I honestly think South Africa should declare a day of rejoicing. If I was president of this country, I would call a family meeting and I would say, my dear fellow citizens, did you see those two scoundrels got arrested in Florida? I declare Saturday a national day of celebration. And then we all just have a party and celebrate that those two palookas are in jail. Gets worse for them, I believe, because they didn't go on the refugee visa. I think they just went on a visitor's visa and they've overstayed their welcome. So now apparently Piet is in an ICE detention center. I'm supposed to be nice about this, I suppose, but I can't help myself with those two. Okay, get a Maltese. They love you forever, says Beth Campos. Also very clever dogs. The thing I want to know from you, Beth, is do you have to do the glands? You know, that I don't know if I can use the word. So let's use the tail end gland. You know, the gland underneath the tail, that Maltese poodles, don't they have like tail end glands, like exhaust pipe glands that someone has to squeeze? These are all my preconceptions when it comes to dogs. When you name a breed, I've got something that comes to mind. And with Maltese poodles, I'm sure I have seen this gland story. They go for a trimming, and then someone has to squeeze the backside gland. Get a Dalmatian, he can be your Uber. I've had 2 Dalmatians in my life. I had a brown spotted Dalmatian, and then I had the last one was a reject. It was the runt of the litter. And she had very tiny little spots instead of big spots. So it looked like her spots never grew. I have found Dalmatians, female Dalmatians, to be the most beautiful animals. Their temperament and their soul and their personality, just beautiful. So I would, but they shed that white hair. My dog died 8 years ago, and I've still got clothes that I pull out the cupboard and still got white hair on. It was just sticking to clothing for 8 years. Get a white rat. Never. Never. I remember when I was doing shows out of the Radio Today studios, I invited the Rat Society, or I can't remember what they were called, but like the Society of Prevention of Cruelty Against Rats or something like that. And they brought rats into the studio and they were telling me what wonderful animals rats are. But there were some downsides. The one is that they don't last very long. I think it's like 2 years and then they kaputski. So you don't have them for a long time. You get your rat and you start preparing for the end. But these rats, but the biggest problem with rats is they can't control their bowel movements. They're not like dogs that will hold it in. They'll nip. But a rat doesn't care. You know, a rat can be walking along your bed, for example, if you've got a pet rat, and it won't even think, you know, I need a wee or something. It will just do it. And I learned this the hard way in the studio because there were rats running around on the desk and I was having fun with the rats and the rats were running around and that one's name was Bob and that one's name was Paul and Bob was 2 years old and he had cancer but he was still doing okay. And they were running around, they got these beady little red eyes and they're pretty inoffensive rats really, except for the pooing and the weeing. And when these people left, I can't remember, the Save the Rats Foundation or something, they left, and then I realized that there was rat poo and wee all over the radio desk, and one of them had made a little poo, and it had fallen off onto the floor, and when I said goodbye to the guests, I stepped on it, and I smeared it across the studio floor, and I learned that rat poo smells very similar to ours. It's just a horrible, horrible smell, and I spent half an hour on my hands and knees with disinfectant cleaning the studios. So I learned the hard way. Rats do not make suitable, I don't care what anybody tells me, rats do not make good pets. Jack Russell, Papillon's long hair is so cute, super intelligent. He brings us such joy, such a pretty looking dog and can be so funny. I think Papillon is on the list. I really do. Con artists of note, this is Petrus and Milani, claimed he was the world's best lawyer. Yeah, that guy. Sure. Couldn't have happened to nicer people. Tom, can't have a big dog in your place. A small dog will curl up on your lap and cuddle with you. I'm with you on that, Charmaine. Cannot wait for their comments to come forth. Can we go, if they get deported, can we go meet them at the airport with big banners that go, yeah, ne? You know, like when the rugby team comes after winning the World Cup, everyone goes, and yeah, can't we just get a whole lot of South Africans together when they come through, they deport them to South Africa, we stand there with big signs that say, ja, ne? Slim fang say boss. It was shopping by replacing low items with high-ticket items through the self-checkout. This sort of thing was big in Australia when I was there. You see, we don't know about that in this country. We would, if it was in South Africa, we wouldn't get caught. We'd find a way to do it properly. Jeff Owen had 2 Bouvier dogs. They were amazing watchdogs. Aren't they big Bouviers? Watch him throw her under the bus. Do you think so? He's gonna blame her. And then he comes back to South Africa and by the way, although I didn't see much of it, did you notice, if you watched the video of them getting arrested, did you notice they weren't in a fancy apartment block? It looked like quite a crappy apartment block. Boca Raton's a good place, but I mean, it certainly wasn't the best apartment block in Boca. So these 2 scoundrels, they've been living in like probably the cheapest flat in Boca Raton, but then when they make their videos, they go to the harbor and pretend they just got off a boat, a big yacht or something. They're just scoundrels. No, family meetings scare me, says Una. They're just so boring, aren't they? Dawn Stelfox says, karma is so real. Piet and Mel deceiving desperate con artists, 2 delusional narcissists. Yeah, amen to that. A Dalmatian for you forever. Rats, no ways. They cannot bring you any joy. Don't say that to a rat lover, though. By that I mean a human being that loves rats, not a rat that is in love with another rat. People that own rats, they will spend a day convincing you about how great rats are. How great rats are. How great rats are. They will sing you a hymn about rats and how wonderful they are. And they'll tell you about their personalities and how clever they are. And it's such soulful little creatures. I'm like, no. No. If you're going to have a pet, do not have a pet that urinates and defecates spontaneously. That's what they do. It's a spontaneous defecation. Hi, Tom. All dogs have glands. Get a Great Dane or a Pug. Yes, but let me explain. Like, I've had Dalmatians, I've had a Bruck, and I've had a sausage dog. And none of them had glands that needed to be squeezed. They might have had glands, but there was never an occasion where you went, oh, look, the gland is bulging at the tail end of that dog. We better take it to sloppy kisses so they can express the gland, or whatever they call it. I have heard and I believe that poodles, they are notorious for having tail end gland problems. But I mean, just what I believe. It might have been something my mother said once. Cats are the... Now you see, now we're delving into the territory of rats and cats now. Cats. Cats make the best ever pets. I said to Tonya a while back, you know you're too far gone now. You're not going to find a boyfriend or a husband. You got 2 cats, 3 dogs, you're done, especially the 2 cats. And when people get cats, they don't stop. They start with 1, and the next thing you know, there are cats everywhere. And they're the same as rats. But the difference between a rat is a rat doesn't know it's making a wee. A cat does. A cat will do it on purpose. A rat will walk along the bed and just make a wee. But a cat will look at you in your eyes and go, watch this. And they smell. Am I the only one that thinks cats smell? They smell. They smelly things. Smelly things, and they eat everything. My ex-girlfriend had 2 cats, and one night I went and made some coffee in the kitchen, and there was a gecko on the ceiling. A beautiful, what are they called, leopard gecko? A little baby leopard gecko, innocently waltzing around the kitchen ceiling. And it was just a lovely little creature, and I spent some time watching it. I was like, oh, wow, that's so pretty. The next morning, I get up and I look on the floor. There's half a gecko here, half a gecko there. You don't have to ask who that was. You know, was it the dog? Was it? No. It was the cat. They are killing machines. That's what they are. They're killing machines with pretty faces. But make no mistake, do you ever see that documentary where they strapped a camera onto a cat? And all it does is it leaves the house and it fights and it kills, and it fights and it kills, and it fights and it kills, and then it goes home and sleeps and pees on the wall. That's a cat. I'm upsetting all the cat lovers. Some people have liked us, some have loved us. I haven't made anyone laugh today. That's no good. Druk die knoppie, Poppy. Rats are good for a heart attack. No, thank you. Wish I could send you a picture of my papillon. They're actually called a Pappy Jack. Oh, it's a cross between a Jack Russell and a Papillon? So it's a Jack Russell with little butterfly ears. I'm imagining it. Jack Russell's hair sticks into everything, and you battled like hell to get out of your clothes. Same with Dalmatians. TIA, don't think anyone will stop you from going to OR Tambo. Hope they don't get sent back, but yes, a good welcome will be hospitable. We should, eh? How about a Corgi? It was good enough for the royal family. I think we had a Corgi. One of our first dogs, my brother Greg will remember this, we had a dog called Peppy that was a bit of a Corgi. And Peppy got run over on Christmas Day. It was a very bleak Christmas that year. Very, very bleak. Get a capuchin monkey. Adorable little bean. Yeah, I don't think I've got the patience for monkeys. Gina, the hair of a short Jack Russell stick like crazy, not the long hair. Oh, do you get long-haired Jack Russells? Get a Yorkie, no hair anywhere. Small dogs. It looks like Yorkie, eh? What about Italian Greyhound? I mentioned it. No one said anything about it. I really got a thing for Italian Greyhounds. I'm good with rats and mice as pets, says Una, but when you get an infestation in the house, that's another story. That was a living nightmare. You see, but what's the difference, right? What is the difference? Let's say you've got a dog that's a pet, and then another 3 dogs come up the driveway one day and they come and join your family. And you're like, I could do with another 3 dogs. It's fine. They're just all there together. They're all dogs and you're happy. But you won't say the same thing about a rat. Like you got your pet rat and you've called it a name like, I don't know, Let's give the rat a name. Ben. And you got Ben, your rat, and Ben's got his own cage, and Ben comes out and you play with him and he wheezes on you and stuff like that. And you got your own rat, and then one day you find out that there's a rat in my kitchen, and then there's a rat in the kitchen, and then he brings another 10 rats, and they're all rats. The one you've got in the cage and the one you call your pet and the one in the kitchen, they're one and the same. If you put them together, they would have a party and make babies. They eat the same. So why would you worry about a rat infestation in your house when you like pet rats? That's like having free-range pet rats. That's like having pet rats that you don't have to put in a cage. You just wander around the kitchen, even feed themselves. I see advantages, not disadvantages. Rats, no thank you. I climb onto the table when I see a rat. I've seen the biggest men in the world scream, high-pitched, like Celine Dion on the top note, when they see rats and mice. Guys that would take a bullet. A mouse? Not a chance. Maltese don't shed hair, says Beth. Oh, we've got people defending their dogs here. Cats are lazy and all they want to do is sleep and play occasionally and kill. I have 9 cats. I think we've been through this before, Anita. I have 9 cats and they don't pee and poo inside. I bet you they have. I bet you once or twice. I bet you. Well, you see, this is the thing. And I go back into my memory bank when I used to visit my second mom, Jo, in Hillbrow. She was a typical Hillbrow pensioner. She had a flat where all the windows and doors were closed and 2 cats. And when you went for lunch, you didn't smell food. You didn't smell the roast cooking when you came through the door. You smelled the cats. And I used to say to her, "Can't you smell that?" And she'd go, "No, it smells fine." Honestly, Anita, I think you've become acclimatized. You need to invite an independent authority like me to your home and let me put my head through your door, and then I'll tell you what's going on in your house. You've got used to it. They probably are peeing all over the place, and you've just got used to the smell. That's what I reckon. Bulbul, that's the one for you. Why are you choosing these big, aggressive dogs for me? Did you see that single female that went to see a dog that she was treating? She's a vet, and the pound had 2 Bulbuls for adoption. They had been adopted out so many times that no one would take them both. Yeah, because they were probably biting children. She took both, and they have taken over her flat. They will. They'll take it over. They own you. They'll own the couch. They'll eat the couch. Oh, thank you. Una will be delivering a cat to me this week. Watch it. We do have a cat on the property. We got one on our property. A very, very cute cat. And she's a fantastic cat. She doesn't go around killing things, and she spends most of her life outdoors in the garden, doing little laps of the garden. In the afternoon, she sleeps there, and in the morning, she smells the veggies in the veggie. She's got a thing that she does. That's my kind of cat, a cat that doesn't spend too much time inside. I don't love pets in the house, says Belinda. I have an African grey. It only copies me. No pasting. Drum roll for that, please, Daryl. Yeah, I have toyed with the idea of getting an African grey, but I think, how would my parrots feel about a bigger parrot in the room? I don't know how that would work. Barbara Ann says, don't like cats at all. To me, they're all dirty. Same here. I think they're smelly, dirty things. And people will tell you, no, they clean. They clean themselves. Look, they clean themselves all the time. They are just spreading the dirt with their tongues. That's what they're doing. Cat's pee stinks to high heaven. Very hard to eliminate the odor. Wait until your black cat brings you a field mouse and drops it on your pillow. Yeah, that would give me anxiety. A cat is an aristocrat. Don't be nasty now. They're highly intelligent. Do you think so? In fact, I don't know that cats are as intelligent as people think, and I've got proof of that. When a cat is crossing a road at night and a car is coming down the road with its headlights on, the cat just does this. And then it gets run over. That's not very smart. I mean, we as humans, we wouldn't do that. If you were crossing the road and you say, oh my goodness, a car's coming, you wouldn't just look at it like that and then wait for the bang. Cats, they do that. And that's what I think that's proof that their intelligence is not as high as people think. Cats, no thank you, especially after a neighbor's cat killed off my tea rose plant. You see, why would you go for a tea rose plant? Why would an animal have beef with the plants? They do. They've got beef with everything, man. With toxic urine. If I could afford to get a dog, I'd probably go for a Jack Russell. Only small dogs are allowed in the complex. Gina Lemon says, my daughter's cat has been spayed. She uses her litter box or goes outside to do her business. They put something up around the little backyard fence. She's never gone outside the yard. It keeps them inside. Okay. If I had a cat, I would teach it to use the loo. Have you seen those cats? There are people in America that they turn their animals into humans. I've seen cats on that level. I would say they're quite smart. I've seen a cat go jump on the toilet and then make a poo and then flush the chain. I was impressed, I must say, for an animal that does this when the headlights are coming to go to the loo and make a poo and flush the chain, pull the chain, flush the toilet. I think that's quite smart. +1 for the cats on that one. Tom, that's what a Pappy Jack is. It's a long-haired Jack Russell. Oh, okay. I love French bulldogs, amazing little house dog. But they don't last long, do they? Bulldog. Everyone I've ever known has had a bulldog. The thing turns 6 years old and then that's the end of it. And they also fart all the time. Bulldogs. They just lie there and flatulate. No, dude, a pet is in a cage. An infestation is when they breed to about 100 and chew your entire house apart. So it's like 100 pets. Pull in, Tom, says Anita. No, they pee outside. You will have to come see for yourself. I've upset the cat owners. My one son would walk through Eastgate with his white rat in his hoodie. Oh no, did you have rats? And when they went to the food arcade, he would feed them fruit. That is unhygienic, isn't it? Sitting at the food arcade with a rat? Ugh. Ugh. Cats are highly intelligent, says Una. Cats are hilarious, says Alistair. Have you seen them when they climb onto a counter and there's a tinfoil? Yeah, I have. Cats will comfort you when you're sad. I can see what I've done here. I've messed with the cat lovers. I'm going to have to ask for forgiveness and say I'm so sorry that I said nasty things about the cats. Charmaine says, have you seen the ugliest cat, the one without hair? Oh my word, looks like an alien. I would have a heart attack if I saw. But I think those are quite cool because you probably won't get allergic to them, because I'm highly allergic to cats. And I've always thought if I had to get a cat, it would be one of those no hair cats that look like they've been undergoing some serious medical treatment or something. My son is a French bulldog, Wallace, that's 14 years old. You sure it's the same dog? 14. A bulldog made it to 14. Stop the presses. Thank you very much. Bulldogs also snore like a two-stroke. Yeah, they just snore and fart. No, Tom. Oh, Heidi Stroink, who hardly ever comments, has come out of the woodwork. No, Tom. Cats are much cleaner than dogs. Even though I love dogs too, they look after themselves. They are wonderful pets. They don't smell. If they're confined and not looked after properly, that's a problem. Get yourself one and change. No, I can't. I'm allergic to them. Even if I wanted a cat, I wouldn't be able to for my health, because if I go into a room with a cat, I've got to take, if I visit someone who's got cats, I've got to take, what are they called? Those antihistamines. I've got to take antihistamines. Otherwise, my skin starts itching immediately within 60 seconds. My arms and my skin starts itching, and within about 3 minutes, my lungs close up. So I just can't do cats at all. I had a boxer many years ago. She was so intelligent, says Heather. And then she moved up to the heavyweight division. Aha! I'm just kidding. I'm not saying you've had a boxer in that way. Anyway, yeah, so I did say let's have a fat chat today, and I hope this is qualified. I hope that you've enjoyed the fat cat. Margaret says, I wonder if you're looking for a boxing match with your hatred of the clean, sophisticated, psychic, intelligent cats. They love you intensely when you're not well. People keep saying this. Oh, when you're not well, the cat will come over. You know what it's doing? It's waiting for you to die so it can take over your house. That's what it's doing. It's not showing you affection. It's climbing on your bed when you're sick and it's looking at you. And if it could talk, it would say, how close are you to checking out? And then all of this is mine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Eunice says, I'm also allergic, but my body acclimatizes over a few days. That's over a few days. So ek was by die veearts met 'n hond, 'n dogtertjie wat saam my was, sien 'n kat sonder hare. Effie skielik sê sy die kat het verkriep. What does that mean? Verkriep. Die kat het verkriep. What is that? Translated into English. I can't leave. It's almost an hour and it's time to go, but I can't leave until someone has explained what verkriep is. Rika. So ek was by die veearts met 'n hond, 'n dogtertjie wat saam my was, sien 'n kat sonder hare. Skielik sê sy die kat het verkriep. That's an Afrikaans word I don't know. Verkriep. I can only guess, but I don't know if I'd be able to what is verkriep? A varkgriep. Varkgriep. Pig flu. Swine flu. Is that what it is? I got it. Hey! Living in Komatipoort and Stellenbosch paid off, man. Enjoyed our time today. Thanks, Tom. Look after yourself. See you on the flip side on Thursday. Boerboels for adoption. They'd been adopted out so many times but nobody wanted one. Yeah, because they get adopted out, they bite a child and then they go back in. That's the problem, I think, with them. Boerboels. Boerboels. Pig flu, says Anita. Yeah. I figured it out. I separated the two words, vark and grip, and then I worked out what it was. Yeah, vark. I'm going to be careful how I say that. Vark grip. Oh, that must have been funny. The cat's got swine flu. Sounds better in Afrikaans, eh? That cat's got swine flu. Die kat het verkriep. That's much better. Much better. Much better. The Afrikaans has got better words for some things, for sure. Much better words for some things. But maybe we'll do a show on that in the future. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed our time chit-chatting today. I just wanted to have a Skinner session and chat and talk nonsense. I hope you were in the same mood. We'll pull a guest on Thursday, and we'll do some more on Thursday. So, yeah. I just wanted to tell you I'm alive, I'm well. I got a new shirts. I need new teeth. So please, if you know of any dentists, send me a message or something. Hook me up. If you know of any single pretty female dentists, like, hook me up. How does a cat get swine flu? And on that note, I say goodbye to you. Thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. It's been a pleasure being with you. I was driving in today going, well, actually yesterday I was like, what am I going to do on the show tomorrow? And I was like, you know what? I just want to talk nonsense. I just want to have a chit-chat. I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about news. Let's have fun laughing at Mel and Piet. And let's talk about cats and dogs and things that make us happy. So I hope you enjoyed. I wish you all the best for this Tuesday afternoon, wherever you find yourself in the world. And I shall see you again on Thursday at 3 p.m. The Tom London Show was brought to you by Suzuki Rivonia. They're the home of happy customers.